live, the Domestic Estate Manager Studios in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. It's the nation's #1 podcast series in the private service industry. It's time for DEMA Live. Now, here are your hosts, Matt and Mike.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of DEMA Live. I'm your host, Matthew Hack, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by Travis John. Travis is the founder of Travis John Agency and author of Privacy Sale, a book that discusses why privacy laws and the traditional ways of selling real estate is broken for celebrities, public figures, and the affluent. Travis, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Well, we're really excited to have you on the show today, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about real estate. And before we get going here and we talk about your book and the agency that you have, we would like you to go over how you got started in the industry.
It started about 12, 14 years ago now, and I started off, my education is in real estate, and my wife was actually in the business before I was, and moved into the business being here in Florida. Of course, always a hot market for real estate, and until it wasn't, a few years ago when things kind of hit the fan. But I just always enjoyed that. We started with investing in real estate, and then I started getting into the more retail side of real estate, where I was helping others buy and sell real estate.
So, Travis, how did you decide that you wanted to go ahead and write the book Privacy Sale?
Well, it started from being in the trenches, in working, running my real estate company and handling property sales, particularly with sellers. I mean, that was predominantly what I worked in that area. And when working with affluent sellers, I just realized that there were a lot of concerns that came out of putting the property on the multiple listing service and using a lot of the traditional methods that spread the property all over the internet, and I was losing control of the property. I mean, people would it would end up on other sites I didn't even know existed. Images would not be easily removed, and I would request them to be removed. It causes privacy concerns for the principals, particularly if they're living in the property. And I just realized that really not having control of a property sale, when I'm very meticulous about details and how that's handled, that it can easily get out of control for anybody that's handling property sales through a lot of the traditional means. So I saw that as a major concern, and I realized there really wasn't anyone doing anything about it. I know, obviously, selling property discreetly and behind closed doors is not a new concept. I mean, that's one of the predominant ways that the affluent and public figures and celebrities sell their properties and have for decades. But nobody's really aggregated and really come out and spoke about this, and put it into print and really, kind of got up on their soapbox and really tried to provide a process around this, because, there are many ways, particularly ways that are used as privacy concerns by using technology and by using a lot of the networks that we have now. You can scale your message in the right way without having to use all the traditional advertising methods, and the multiple listing service, to be the best example of that. And I found that by doing this and, having a little bit different way, particularly in writing a book and getting the message out, that this can really help more people than just a few people that I can help myself. And, that was really the real gist behind the book and my passion for getting started.
Which is pretty much what prompted you to join DEMA, which was the ability to be able to help communicate to the private service professional about some of the things that they can implement to help their principals when putting a house on the market, correct?
Exactly. Yep, you hit it on the head. Okay,
great. So with that being said, now you've kind of broken away and you wrote a book. Can you tell us a little bit about the book Privacy Sale?
Absolutely. Yeah, the book Privacy Sale was really kind of in a few years coming. I just really realized that my in being so entrenched in the real estate business and working with several affluent clients, as well as properties of all values, that there just seemed to be a void in the market of the ability for very affluent, particularly public figures and celebrities, to be able to transact their real estate without having a lot of complications. For many of us, me included, if I want to sell real estate, I mean, I don't really have a lot of privacy concerns that would be on the top of my head, but if someone that is a public figure or celebrity, their personal life is one of the few things that they want to guard, and putting your property out there in the public eye is definitely not something that they really enjoy doing. So I just really saw that as a real need in the market, and as you mentioned, it was one of the reasons why I joined DEMA, because working closely with the organization and the private service area is one of the best ways to communicate this message and help to provide a few additional tools and maybe some processes where privacy is a big concern and you just don't want to go through the hassles of the traditional ways of selling real estate.
So what are some of those complications, if you can elaborate a little bit and expand so that some of our members will better understand exactly what's in the book?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the big thing is it kind of starts off with the book is very focused kind of on three core areas. Very simply, one is just kind of the that the privacy laws are broken, and of course this spoiler alert. Of course, everyone knows that for the most part, but I really kind of go deeper and really point out a lot of very specific reasons why privacy laws are broken, particularly for public figures, because if anyone, if the general public cares about a public figure's personal life, if it's considered news or if there's an interest, then the courts have consistently ruled that that this information is allowed. So there's a lot of insight into public figures and celebrities' personal lives that is very invasive, that is actually allowed legally just because people care to know about it. So I point a lot of that out in the beginning of the book, and then I also focus on just, for instance, we all know of the multiple listing service, the MLS, which is made up of nearly 900 different kind of collection of services all over the U.S., which is basically what we know as kind of the MLS, and that in and of itself is one of the best marketing systems around for a typical sale. But as a public figure or celebrity, putting your property on the multiple listing service opens up a wide range of privacy concerns, specifically because the address is listed, images are no longer your own. I mean, they become part of the public domain, and many times these types of listings are spread into hundreds of different websites, and there's really no way to control that listing and that information about the property, and that could lead to people hanging out at your house, in front of your house, or paparazzi concerns or things of that nature, or just simply people that are looking to do harm or theft or protection issues.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things that that come out of that.
Okay. So the three core items, obviously, that you focus on in the book, the first one is privacy laws that are being broken, and obviously it sounds like they're being broken legally. But what are the other two core items? And obviously listing in the MLS, is that correct?
Yeah, the MLS, really kind of the system is broken. The traditional way of selling the property, and unfortunately, that's not the only way. As I make one instance in the book, I mean, if you're going to sell a car, for instance, there's not one way that you can sell a car. There's numerous ways you could sell it, and many of them can be acceptable methods. But with real estate, we're kind of pushed into this one size fits all approach of, hey, you got to use the multiple listing service, and there's no legal reason you have to. It's just kind of like this is what everyone has to do. So, really the MLS, is kind of, and the traditional ways of selling real estate is broken as the second. And the third is just having basically a uniform marketing plan or a personalized marketing plan and a private network so that you can actually replicate all the great things that the multiple listing service does have. It has a big network of brokers. It has, numerous properties, and it has, connectivity. So what I've provided is just a way to duplicate that and replicate that and not lose the marketing and all the things that are involved, because the biggest thing that anybody would have is a concern of being more private, because I don't think anyone would argue that privacy is good, but most people would argue that, how is anyone going to know about my property? How am I going to get the message out there to the right people? So that's really where the third component, where I spend a lot of time in the book, is particularly from my experience in marketing and spending a lot of time in this area, is what works and how to do it, how to implement it. And, that's really the biggest component and kind of the biggest takeaway from the book.
So your book really focuses on working with an agency that's going to be listing the house and developing a very strong but yet private marketing plan for selling the house, correct?
Correct. That's exactly what I do. Yep. I mean, I really act as a consultant, if you will, where I just help, particularly other broker agencies, work through, what the goals of this particular property or, principals, personal goals and privacy goals are, as well as obviously property sale goals. And then we can focus on, unique ways to get the message out and, where I just kind of complement that service, that agency that's there, with their feet on the street, that most of the time already has the relationship with the principal, is able to, just make it a lot more effective and, even offer this, because many times it's just not something that it seems viable, because it seems just like it's a little bit too difficult to go outside of the traditional ways.
Correct. And a lot of the real estate agents out there are probably set in their ways, and so when you go to them, there's one way that they know how to market the home, and that's pretty much it. Whereas if a private service professional or a principal were to get you involved, you're going to be kind of the go-between person between the principal and the real estate agent to help get those creative juices flowing on how to, have different ideas to market the home, but yet still protect the privacy.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you're exactly right. I mean, pointed out one crucial thing, and that's kind of my biggest obstacle, and that's why this is not for everyone. I mean, not everybody has this significant privacy concerns that I outline in the book. Of course, this is very focused around, highly affluent public figures, celebrities. It's not really catered to anyone else. But from the real estate agent and broker's perspective, they are very focused around using the MLS, because that is, the most, the easiest tool to use and the best way to get a property out there. But if a principal's core desire is to remain discreet about this type of sale for a variety of reasons that I point out in the book, and some that they have that may not even be in the book, then this is a way to give them, a step-by-step process and a way to achieve that goal without having to go through those traditional means, like you mentioned.
Super. So obviously writing this book was a passion of yours. Can you give me some examples of areas that you have seen in the past where this confidentiality impacted the sale of the home or the privacy of the principal? Obviously not naming names of the particular principal, but just some examples of where maybe implementing your strategy could have changed the outcome.
Sure. I mean, yeah, there's variety, and of course, yeah, you're not getting specifics, but for instance, when several properties, come to mind, but when a property is put into the public eye, for instance, when there's already a lot of knowledge where many of the public figures and celebrities and wealth holders, hold property, even in the instance where they may be held in, an LLC or, a trust or an LLC owned by a trust. So what we've seen is, obviously it creates paparazzi concerns, particularly some of the worst ones that I've seen is just when public figures, it's their principal residence, and they really, they have family, many times children, and their children aren't famous, but they become affected by a lot of the noise that comes out of the fact that the property is for sale. So that will lead to more people, camping out in front of the estate, or it will lead to, people that are trying to see the property that aren't necessarily qualified, or people that are trying to pose, as qualified, buyers, because they've learned that this property is for sale. If you go through the right mechanisms and the right people are notified, particularly that might be, qualified to see the property, we've seen that there's a lot less concerns that come out of or potential liabilities and protection issues that come out of that as well. And the reality is, some of the properties that come to mind as well, they stay on the market longer. Most people don't put their property on the market below what they're going to accept. So, for instance, property that goes on the market at $20 million, it very likely, the owner may be willing to sell it for $15 million. Well, what happens is very frequently, there's numerous examples of this, where you start making price reductions in the property, and those are tracked through the multiple listing service. Those are tracked through news outlets. They're tracked through people that blog about these things, and people that are all following this celebrity or public figure's property, this affluent business owner's property. And then people begin speculating, and there's multiple press about the property not being able to sell. Because once it reaches, it's been on the market for a year, and people start speculating that this person has financial problems. They start speculating that they can't sell the property, and they start speculating, maybe personal, concerns or marital concerns. So all these things that are speculated are, 99% not true most of the time, but what happens is it causes a negativity around the property that's completely unneeded. And in some cases will actually turn off other affluent buyers, because, the person that's selling the property is going to be, the buyer is going to be equally of an important person, clearly. So those, many times that can also steer other buyers kind of away from all that noise and be a little concerned of all the attention that property's getting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've had the opportunity to read the book, and I think there's a lot of really valid points that you bring up within the book. So I wanted to just bring that up and let you know that I was very impressed with what the pieces that you have within the book. So now you have a complimentary offer for our DEMA members, correct?
I do. Yes. Anyone that's a DEMA member is welcome to get. They can receive a free copy of the book. They can receive that at travisjohn.com/DEMA, and just DEMA, and they can also just go to from my website, Travis John, and contact me if they they have questions or want to receive other copies or multiple copies or things of that nature. But I've set it up so that they can obviously receive a free copy, and it's just a small gift that I can pass along, and hopefully get the message out, and maybe it will make an impact, or at least provide a little more information or insight as to if this is something that might be worth presenting to their principal. Many times the private service professionals here, they're part of DEMA, they're going to be interested in reading the book themselves and seeing if this applies to their principal, and they can pass on this kind of advice to the principal or even the real estate team. Okay.
So one more time, what's the contact information that people want to get in touch with you?
They can reach me at travisjohn.com. I mean, that's just my main contact page. The website for privacy sale is privacysale.com, so just all one word. And if they'd like to get a free copy of the book, they can just go to travisjohn.com, and it's /DEMA.
Super.
And that's the best way to do that. And obviously my phone number and address and email and all those kind of things are on multiple locations there, so they're welcome to reach out to me in any fashion. I'd be happy to talk with anybody as well.
Super. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to be on DEMA Live today, Travis, and sharing with us some of the information that you have within your book and some of the things that you have to offer through your services. And obviously, we would like to hopefully get you around the country to be at some of the meetings and present to all of our members, and hopefully that would fit into your schedule for this upcoming year.
I would love that. No, that'd be great. I appreciate the invite.
All right, super. Well, I appreciate the time, and if you have any questions, obviously contact Travis John at www.travisjohn.com, and that's TRAVISJOHN.com. We look forward to having Travis go across the country and meet some of our other members, and we appreciate having you on DEMA Live today, Travis.
Thank you very much, Matt. I really appreciate it. It means a lot.
All right, super. Have a great day.
You too. Take care. Thank you.
Well, that'll do it for another edition of DEMA Live. I'd like to thank my special guest, Travis John. Once again, I've been your host, Matthew Hack. Thanks for taking the time to join me on another DEMA Live. And as always, remember, as the great Vince Lombardi once said, the difference between a successful person and others is not a lack of strength, not a lack of knowledge, but rather a lack in will.